Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to you, wherever you are in the world by the time you come across this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, become a member to the channel. Follow me across all social media platforms. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. Hey, yo, man, star power has a shelf life. Attitude is everything. And I think people tend to forget that. It's not even just about sports, you know. You could be the star athlete in your youth league or in high school or in college. You can be a big-time boxer, football player, baseball player, no matter what sport it is, you can be that guy or girl. When it comes to the job, you can be the star performer. And when it comes to whatever walk of life, whatever you're doing in your life, you could be that guy or girl. Could be a superstar, but it has a shelf life. Now, when it comes to boxing, you know, star power is not permanent. You know, we've seen a lot of fighters shining bright. Couple bad choices, lose a fight. All of a sudden, they realize that that star power that they had, that shit was borrowed. You don't own it. It's temporary. Fighters don't just lose relevance because of losses, you know. That does affect them to a certain extent. But a lot of them lose relevance while they're winning because of attitude. History shows that with the right attitude, the right ego, not disrespecting people, the establishment, legends, that will help to preserve your star power. But when you're out here with the bad attitude, bad ego, disrespecting any and everybody, that will accelerate the decline faster than knockouts and losses on your record ever could. You see, in my opinion, right, when it comes to star power, it's built on three pillars: performance, perception, and connection. You know, once the perception about a fighter turns negative and that connection with the fans breaks, wins alone can no longer save a fighter's popularity. Nobody cares because their connection with you as a fighter has been lost because the perception about you isn't favorable. I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to foot stomp it, man, and y'all can take it how you want, man. The right attitude matters more than undefeated records. Shit matters more than titles, matters more than gold medals in the Olympics, silver medals in the Olympics, bronze medals in the Olympics. It doesn't matter. That shit means nothing. Nothing. And it's a fact. You look at some of the fighters who, men and women, who are loved more than these current champions. They don't have those accolades from the amateurs and the Olympics. You know, they don't have undefeated records as a pro. But you know what they have? Or those who've retired, what they had the right attitude. And that's why the star power has never left them. Shelf life. There's no shelf life on their star power because they have the right attitude. They've embraced people. They've embraced their position as a champion. They embrace their position as a superstar. They embrace their position as a role model. They embrace their position as a mentor, as a leader, someone who can inspire. They embraced it and they've done right with it. They didn't just look and say, okay, I'll wear that hat, but fuck y'all. It's all about me. I'm okay, you're not okay. But people can do what they want, right? Choices and consequences. If you choose to go that route, deal with the consequences and shut up. Wanting to point fingers at people and send subliminal messages. No, you got to own it, man. See, what I don't think some people realize when it comes to boxing, right? Got to put on that lip chat. Fans forgive losses. They rarely forgive arrogance mixed with denial. Look at Manny Pacquiao. Anywhere that man goes in the world, people try to eat him. They try to eat him. Look at them losses on his record. To God, he rest his soul. Another one. People will try to eat him. Love that man to death. Mickey Ward, love him to death. Guys out here taking losses but give us wars. Miguel Cotto, love him to death. Felix Trinidad, love him to death. Roy Jones, love him to death. Oscar De La Hoya, he kind of out in the wind a little bit, but he doesn't necessarily have a bad attitude. He just in the breeze and shit. But they love his ass. You know why? Because it wasn't all about them trying to preserve their records and remain undefeated. They all have losses, but fans love them. But one thing for sure is they didn't have the arrogance mixed with denial. They'll come out and tell you to this day why they lost. The opponent was better, or I was doing this, or I was doing that. Them guys will come out, they take accountability. That's why fans connect with them. That's why even for someone like De La Hoya, fans still connect with that guy. And it's not even a race thing. It's just a humanity thing. We all have had great experiences. We've all had bad experiences. We've all made some bad choices and learned from that. But when you can't come out here now and be arrogant and mixed with denial and try to project that as a champion and think that people are going to sit there and be cool with it. Nah, plenty of shit starts to stink. You see, if you have a fighter who loses humbly, they can rebound. I just saw clips of that misfit boxing crap. The guy Tate, he lost to some guy. He lost humbly. I saw Chris Eubank Jr. when he lost to Conor Benn in the rematch. He lost humbly. When you could come out here and lose humbly, that does a whole lot for your profile and does a whole lot for the respect a fan may or may not have for you. If they have the respect for you, it just grows exponentially. If they didn't have respect for you, they develop it. Now, a fighter who wins, that's good, but if you're winning while disrespecting your peers, while disrespecting legends, disrespecting fans, you know what that does? That builds resentment from everyone, young, old, in between. Over time, fans stop tuning in. Not because the fighter can't fight, but because they don't want to support the person. You know why? Because of the attitude. Attitude. Boxing is unique because fans feel emotionally invested, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to be the villain, but be likable. You could come out here and talk shit and everything and then make a joke and this and that, and people be like, yo, this person here is an asshole, but something you like about him. Got to be something you like about him. But when there's nothing to like about you, you can keep living in your own world thinking that everybody is just picking on me and being mean to me and knowing they just want to be me and look like me and they want what I have. Well, you can keep going thinking that bullshit. I'm going to tell you right now, boxing is unique, very unique, because fans feel emotionally invested. I've realized that big time, especially over the last 2 months. They feel emotionally invested. When fighters insult retired legends, dismiss opponents, or constantly attack critics, they slowly shrink their audience. And that is what's happening right now. And it's happened before, man. But I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen anybody really come out here and disrespect a legend the way I've seen it happen in the last couple months. Like, I'll be honest with you. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Totally blows my mind, man. I can't comprehend it. I just don't get it, man. And my thing is this, retired fighters, they represent boxing memory. You know, especially any fighters who have become the face of a movement, and any fighters who can go to any of the 7 continents where people hold their names near and dear to their hearts and be shown love, to be taken care of, to be able to go out there and live and not have to worry about food, a place to stay, about clothing, nothing. When you establish that kind of connection across all 7 continents, you don't deserve to be disrespected by no one. It sure as hell shouldn't be mentioning your name unless it's in a positive light. But when you have an animal running around here doing those kind of things, they lose the people. Because these legends, most of these boxing legends, they have the people still. You look at Roberto Duran. He was a villain, but he was likable. But Emma was a villain, boy. Look at him now. They want that man to show up everywhere. Roberto Duran pop up on the scene. Hey, ¿cómo está, papá? Papá, ¿cómo está, papá? Man, something nice about him. People want him everywhere. Sugar Ray Leonard, they want him everywhere. Thomas Hearns, look at what's going on with him. People losing their minds trying to make sure he's all right. You can't come out here and disrespect the legends, you know what I'm saying? Them guys represent boxing memory, man. When you have active fighters out here, male or female, disrespecting legends, fans take it personally. That's what I don't understand. Just shut up. Doesn't matter if you think that skill for skill, you're better than someone who came before you. Okay, feel that way. But just shut up. See, that's ego. That's ego, man. You gotta leave that alone. I remember on my way out, last 2 years before I was about to retire, had some young up-and-comers, man. You know, we're all in the same career field. They knew their shit. They didn't know what I knew. But, you know, there were those who were smart enough to humble themselves and to not disrespect the old heads, like myself, man. You know what I'm saying? To get to the point that where we reached, they still had a lot of work to do. But there was always that 1 or 2 that felt they could come out there and challenge us and disrespect us. And you know what? It wasn't even about us humbling them. The people around would humble their ass. And they burnt bridges. And they became the Warriors. And that's what happens in boxing, man. You can't disrespect legends. Fans are going to take it personally. It's interpreted as trying to erase history or that you are claiming superiority without having earned universal respect. Muhammad Ali, Layla Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis. We can go on and on. Can't come out here disrespecting them guys. Talking about if I was fighting back then, I beat this person, I beat that person. Bozo. Sports science has evolved. Take away all the sports science and all the bullshit and all the supplements, all the shit that you have, and just go back out there with these guys who are running in boots, chopping trees, having sledgehammers, beating tires, eating steak and potatoes. How you would have performed without all this supplementation and bullshit that you're taking out, with all the sports science, modern day bullshit. Better put some respect on them old heads' names, those legends' names, and stop disrespecting the legends. But there are a lot of fighters who, you know, regretted their behavior and admitted they didn't understand this while they were young, while they were popular and surrounded by yes men. There's a person in particular right now, is a female, Claressa Shields, of course, who's going through this. Young, big-ass mouth, ego, and doesn't know when to stop. And as far as her star power, that shit's dead. She accelerated her shelf life. But you can look at Teófimo López. He about to fight Shakur Stevenson. That's a damn good fight. But Teófimo López is another one, man, who just was battling emotional instability. You know, now he didn't disrespect legends, but he's one of the clearest modern examples of, I say, star power slipping while relevant. Because he went out here talking about the monkey shit and the banana shit. Is he a racist? I mean, yeah. If you come out and make those kind of jokes, I mean, you got to put the hat on, right? But at the same time, we all have senses of humor. I mean, I thought some of the shit he said was funny because I got a sense of humor. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's just joking. You can watch some of your favorite comedians. They say wild shit on stage, right? So they get a pass. Why can't Teófimo with someone else? But when you go on and on and on and on with it, it's like there's so many other ways to market yourself and to get under somebody's skin. You don't have to be sending people bananas and doing shit like that. You know, that's a little crazy. But I see it both ways. Sense of humor, trying to be funny, get under their skin, but also see it as like, yo, man, you're a bigot. You're a racist. You discriminate. I understand the entire argument. But that's just something I'm used to doing, sitting back and just kind of listening to both sides. But he is a guy, man, who, although he's relevant, his star power slipped. He's about to fight Shakir and Teófimo. You can see in his interviews, it's like he's afraid to talk now because the fans turned on his ass. You know, at his peak, he beat Lomachenko, had the boxing world watching him. But the erratic interviews, emotional outbursts, contradictions, public instability, and the shit about the bananas and all that shifted the conversation away from boxing and towards concern and towards like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? We don't like him anymore. And trust me, they didn't turn on him because of losses. They turned because he became unpredictable. He lashed out at critics. They saw him as a racist, and he blurred whatever confidence he had with insecurity. And that's how people saw it. This dude must be insecure if he feels he has to say crazy shit about these fighters, especially black fighters on Top Rank. So he still has elite talent, but his star power no longer feels safe or reliable. And that's why you watch right now, a lot of people don't take him serious. So is he being done wrong? I don't know if I'll say that, but what I can say is I think he learned from his mistakes. So he has an opportunity to recapture some of that star power. But he's really going to have to beat Shakir Stevenson in a decisive fashion to do that. But I mean, you know, I'm going to tell you again, Shakir Stevenson is no joke. So, you know, good luck to Teófimo on that. But he's a good example of somebody right now whose star power has been snatched from him as a result of his, you know, choices to come out here and be a cockahole. So it is what it is. Now, then you got Claressa Shields. You know, we talk about her during our lives. I'm not going to say too much here because I'm not here to make a joke. What I'm here to talk about is how she's arguably probably the most accomplished female boxer ever. That is fair to say. I mean, on paper, right? But star power is about how fans feel, man. Not just what your resume says, and she needs to realize that. Her issues are not losses because she's never lost. She's unpredictable in the ring. She's perfect in the ring. And anytime she gets in the ring, she should be the favorite. Okay? I'm telling you that. That's being as fair as I can possibly be. But at the end of the day, although her issues aren't losses, her issues are constant online arguments, constant confrontational language, constant cussing, saying the most extreme, disgusting things you could think. You would never expect from a female, from a champion, from a two-time gold medalist, from someone who's a top 1%. You'd never expect, but she does this shit. Disrespect towards her peers. She disrespects legends. She just doesn't care. Because she's living in the now. And as a result, she thinks she's all that. Aggressive, criticism, positive, negative. In her mind, it's okay if you say something about her, she can punch you in the face. Listen, this very, very toxic, man. Goddamn jailbird mentality. And I'm going to tell you what, no matter how hard I try to give her credit, This is the problem. Her confrontational public image overshadows all of her achievements, and I don't see it. All I see and hear is the confrontational attitude, confrontational language, confrontational public image. And that's why everybody talks about it so much and everybody make jokes about it and people have negative things to say about it. Because she is that, man. And until she can just learn to take a deep breath, blow things out, and really think before she speaks, or just think and say, you know what, there's no need for me to say anything. Silence is the biggest weapon out here when it comes to the social media bullshit and to these fighters and people with star power. But it doesn't matter what I say, right? Who am I? I'm just a goddamn retired guy who likes to talk about boxing and just happened to get irked by Claressa Shields disrespecting Layla Ali and Muhammad Ali and decided to talk about it more than I would really like to. But, it should annoy me. So I talk about her. And, I'm not going to stop talking about her and having the lives because I think we should keep talking about her. She's an interesting person. There's a lot of good with Claressa, but there's a lot of goddamn bad too. It's just very interesting to watch somebody like that. But what I'm watching, I feel like we're watching an asteroid about to crash into the Earth. And she's that asteroid. And I think she's in a descent at a very rapid speed. And when she hits and crashes, it's going to be sad to watch. It's going to be catastrophic. But that's my opinion. But many fans feel Shields talks more about greatness than demonstrating emotional growth. They're like, okay, all right, we get it already. Change the goddamn tune. We don't want to hear about no more championships and gold medals. Shut up. No one cares. No one cares. But show emotional growth. Can you demonstrate that? That's what people care about. You're 30 going on 31. You want a child. You want this, you want that. Where's the emotional growth? That's why when I listen to the people, they're like, Fans out here, like I said, they get emotionally involved. That's why they comment on her. They're like, nope, she don't need to do nothing with this, nothing with that, until she fixes herself. And I just think over time, the fact that she talks more about her greatness, I just think it's caused fatigue. And fans, they don't deny her skill. Even the people, I know people, they don't like her. They don't like her. But they cannot deny that skill. They all say that. That is the constant in our conversations. She gets busy in the ring. But they question whether they can ever support her again. That's how much frustration and disdain they have towards her now. The bottom line is star power dims when fans feel exhausted instead of inspired, and Claressa Shields hasn't done nothing but exhaust fans. There's still some who feel inspired, but I'll tell you what, she's lost more than 70% of the people who once supported her. She had 82-year-olds, 75-year-olds. She had people supporting her, man, that were from the ages of like 50 all the way up to 82. I know that because they call them to the goddamn lives. And I'm like, damn. We had people calling, they started talking about all kind of shit. Civil rights movement, this and that, and what they couldn't do when they were her age and looking at her or rooting for her, and they're looking how she's acting now and this and that. And they just feel like she's let them down. She's let us down. And it's women and men, but there was a couple, 82-year-old, as a male and a female, called in, and they were hurt. And I can't understand it because I didn't go through what they went through, but it hurt them deeply. They were so glad to see this black girl from the hood going and accomplish what she did in the Olympics, come and turn pro and doing what she's doing, then to see her just totally just fall off with an attitude and being negative and just basically, man, proving stereotypes about, young black women to be true. That hurt them. They even got the guy, OG Walls, man, he has a little show, man. That shit hurt him. They come from a different time, man. It's different from, someone like me who I know me. I don't give a shit about nothing. Except my 4 sons, I don't care. I talk what I talk. I don't care. You like it, you do. You don't, you don't. I don't give a shit. But them old heads, it hits them differently. Totally different. But I just say what, that star power is dimming big time, man. Then you got somebody like, y'all may have forgotten who this guy. Remember Andrew Golota? Andrew Golota, man, was biting Riddick Bowe in the ring. Mike Tyson hit him with a few bing bings, and Golota didn't want to fight no more. He was pushing his coach, Lou Duva. All hell broke loose in the ring. But you talking about self-destruction in real time, you look at Andrew Golota. Something was wrong with that guy, man. Had the size, had the power, had the attention, didn't have any emotional control. None. That mug was crazy, boy, from Poland. Repeated disqualifications, fouls, meltdowns, disrespect turned him from a feared contender into a cautionary tale, man. Golota didn't just lose fights, he lost credibility. No one can take him serious. Fans stopped seeing danger and started seeing chaos. And that's the direction that some people are going right now, you know. And once that happens, when it goes from people seeing you as a danger to just chaotic, star power doesn't return. It never returned. He totally, faded away. Boxing career came to an end. I think he got into some trouble, some legal shit he was doing. He was doing some wild shit. He was a crazy guy, man. And anyway, he just totally self-destructed, and that was the end of Andrew Golota. Then you have Mike Tyson, who's respected today, but just imagine what his career would have been if Mike Tyson could have wisened up a little bit sooner. But his story is complex because his star power had never fully disappeared. Mike Tyson he had a likable quality, but what did disappear is not his star power, but his dominance. But he admitted later in life, he said, look, ego replaced my discipline, fame replaced my hunger, and fear replaced focus. And he went and he continued on talking about his disrespect, his erratic behavior, and lack of structure shortened what would have been a much longer reign in the heavyweight division. And Tyson did become a lot wiser, but it was after the damage was done. And again, he's very respected today, but he's not respected for the career he could have had, but it is what it is. But there's just a pattern. And fighters today don't need to go down the same path. This shit about getting smart too late, man. You just see across the generations, fighters gaining fame, fighters become confrontational, fighters dismiss criticism, fans slowly disengage from the fighters, and fighters reflect only after the decline. Boxing doesn't wait for maturity, the sport moves on. Good example is Adrian Broner. Sport moved on from his ass. Nobody wanted to hear nothing about Adrian Broner. Nobody wanted to hear nothing from Adrian Broner. Nobody cared. And it's interesting because to try to understand why fans turn before fighters fail, that's an interesting conversation. Before they fail, before they fall, why fans will turn. I'll say this, fans don't abandon fighters overnight. They emotionally detach first. And then certain things start to happen. Pay-per-view numbers stall, media coverage cools, matchmaking leverage weakens, sponsors hesitate. By the time fighters realize it, the crowd has already moved on. Now just listen to what I just said. Who can you apply that to? Pay-per-view numbers will stall, media coverage cools off, matchmaking leverage weakens, sponsors hesitate. Crowd moves on. Who's that sound like? So I guess can star power be rebuilt? I think it can be rebuilt, man, for fighters and just for people in general. But only with accountability, first and foremost, silence instead of arguments, consistency over clout, tolerance over threats, and respect for history. Fans will reward growth. They reject defensiveness. The more defensive you are, the more excuses you make, the more aggressive you are, the more fans detach from you, walk away from you, and 9 times out of 10, they don't come back. So the final truth is star power in boxing isn't about being loud. It's about being believed. Once fans stop believing in the person, not the fighter, but the person, the decline begins. No matter how many belts are on the wall, how many gold medals you have, no matter how much money you have. Fans stop believing in the person, not the fighter, the decline begins. I'll tell you right now, star power has an expiration date, and boxing keeps proving it. Winning isn't enough anymore in boxing. Ego kills boxing careers faster than knockouts. And I'm going to tell you right now, you go from being a superstar to a side note. And that's one of the harsh realities when it comes to boxing. Out here learning too late. Boxing's most costly attitude mistakes, man, are what we need to really be talking about here. Anyway, I'm going to say it again, like I've said before. Most important thing when it comes to personal and professional success is attitude. Attitude. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.